Alright guys, what's up? We got Gold Division Losers Bracket Finals coming at you, and Solaire Club going to be taking on Prime Icarus, as both of these teams are vying for a place in Diamond Division. That's what's on the line here. You either win and go to Diamond, or you lose and your cycle ends here. Probably the most intriguing matchup out of any of the Gold Division games because of what's on the line. The highest of highs, the lowest of lows, that sort of thing. But going to be a solo cast here, as I was unable to find anybody else that wanted to join me, probably because I smell just terrible. And so, Legion side going to start it off with a couple of bans. Ophelia and Parasite are taken off right off the bat, as they want to eliminate the jungle option for PI, which is notorious for running a lot of junglers. Tep is still on the board, though, and he has not even been picked up in the first three selections, so I wouldn't be surprised if he is picked up either by Noob McNoob or Shorecan, as both of them are very strong Tempest players, and I'm actually kind of surprised that neither of them have picked him up quite yet. But second stage of bans, or the PI side of the bans at least, Kraken and Swiftblade. Kraken making sense because Army of Mums plays exclusively Kraken. Not really exclusively Kraken, but a lot of Kraken. And they really do prefer to put him on that hero. I don't know if it's justified, but I think I've said that enough times at this point, and definitely a comfort hero for Solaire Club and Army of Mums in that Kraken. Not going to be available, also banning out the Skill Blade, as it's a notorious hero, nobody wants to play against it, and if it's Hellborn side, of course, you can expect the first pick. Though I have to question the fact that they left the Cthulhu open. You'd imagine that taking another ban onto something like Tempest, maybe? I don't know. Or, hey, any other hero would allow them to pick between Swiftblade and Cthulhu on the Solaire Club side, and then the other hero would go to PI. But that is not what happened, and the Cthulhu first pick comes out. No huge surprise there. Going to be followed up by Gauntlet and Puppet Master. So just going to get his hands on Gauntlet, which is a hero that he loves and is very good with. Also going to take it away from Slaskiret, who's a very good Gauntlet player himself. So that's a bit of a dual pick, as it helps Solaire Club a lot and hurts PI a fair bit. PI going to start their draft off with Magbus and Rhapsody. I have no problem with Magbus' first pick, but I don't think that Rhapsody is really maybe even top 3 pick material anymore, and certainly not second pick material with the Tempest on the board. But Solaire Club deciding not to go with that hero, they instead look like they might be running a jungle Cthulhu. Dr. Repulsor will still be on the board, and Noob McNoob is notorious for loving that jungle doctor, but he also does play a very good Tempest, and I'm kind of confused because PI knows about the jungle doctor, and it will be the Tempest pick. That is what I expected from PI, considering they do prefer to run jungle lineups, and considering Noob McNoob's experience and skill on the Tempest, and the fact that Cthulhu's probably, at least in my opinion, best run as a Suicide, there are other better jungle options for the Suicide role, and I'm not sure if there are any other better Suicide options. Did I say jungle? Yeah, I think I said jungle. So there are better options for the jungle role, and there aren't better options for the Suicide role, in my opinion. So I would say that... What did I do? Oh, the all chat. I kicked Kendor from something, probably the co-casters group chat on Skype. It's okay, I added him back. Oh well. And so that wraps up the first 3 picks. Right off the bat, I like both drafts actually quite a lot. Puppet Master, we're seeing a little bit more of him recently. Reason Gaming plays a lot of Puppet, and we're seeing him come back a little bit. He was really taken off the table. It was every single game, Kronos and Puppet Master bans in CIC. And then after Kronos and Puppet both took slight nerfs, we don't see Kronos at all anymore, and we see Puppet Master occasionally, but we do seem to be seeing a little more Puppet in the last few cycles and the last few games especially. I wouldn't be surprised if that hero is starting to make a comeback, because it is quite powerful still, in my opinion. Quincy, stop licking scrims. What did I do, guys? Stop making fun of me. It's not nice. You're going to hurt my feelings. It's mean. Aww. Anyway. Yeah, that's true. He uses the Skype, Cannondorf uses the Skype co-caster chat to look for scrims, which is very ineffective because people aren't really looking for scrims there, and he keeps doing it. It's kind of funny. either way, I do like both drafts so far. Hellborn side perhaps lacking a little bit of damage, but they have a lot of lockdown and some nice defensive capabilities in those team fights. They'll also have pretty great gank with Magnus and Tempest to follow it up. And Magnus Eruption will do a fair bit of damage, but they're probably looking for a couple more heroes that will allow them to run the damage strat. Now, one thing that I have to keep in mind for PI is they've been doing these sneak push strats, and Rhapsody Tempest is the start of a solid push strat. So I really wouldn't be shocked to see something like a Keeper of the Forest here, and see them run that Suicide, and then maybe even something like a Defiler for the short lane, as they've done this in a couple of games. Balfagor, who knows, all this stuff could be on the table. Torture, although that would be a carry roll Torture, of course, which is fine, but it probably wouldn't be a support because it's through an area to Rhapsody. Either way, I wouldn't be completely shocked if they started to do this sneak push strat, because they've been doing it in the last couple of rounds, and they have the makings of it here. Anyway, for second stage bans, we have Silhouette, Oogie, and Madman getting banned out by Jismin. So actually, it's kind of funny. He's banning out himself at the same time as Ceratoss, because Ganondorf plays the Silhouette and the Oogie very, very well. So that's going to hurt Ceratoss, and the Hellborn side don't have a short lane hero quite yet. So you can see the impetus for banning out those types of heroes, because they want to remove the possibility of getting that really powerful short lane carry for Ceratoss. Ceratoss doesn't have a huge hero pool, so it's relatively easy to ban him out. And at the same time, though, it is going to hurt them, because Ganondorf is now going to have a lot less stuff to play. Of course, he already has the Puppet Master, so I don't even know what I'm talking about, because that's probably going to be his hero anyway. But yeah, we see the Keeper of the Forest, getting the fourth pick there from PI to counter the Empath, and all of a sudden, we're looking at a sneak push strat. I really, really like this. Keeper of the Forest and Rhapsody, I think, is a fantastic combination. Those dogs do very, very well with the dance floor behind them. They do also have the Tempest Keeper, now Magnus and Rhapsody combination. This is going to be a ridiculous amount of team fight. I'd like to see the Defiler here, actually. It's going to give them some nice silence against a team that's very, very spell dependent. And now it's going to be Soul Reaper. That's another hero that they play a lot. So, again, the sneak push strat. And I like it a lot. I didn't talk about Hellborn bans. They were Glacius, Legionnaire, and Dr. Repulsor, so no huge surprise the Doctor gets banned out. Trying to take that hero away from Noob McNoob, as well as one support and the extra jungle option, because Noob, I believe, has played the Lego Woods. I know Shorecan has. I don't know. But we're looking at currently a heavy push strat on the Hellborn side, all of a sudden. With Soul Reaper, with Rhapsody, Keeper of the Forest, Tempest, we've got a lot of minion damage, we have a lot of heals, and we have an amazing amount of team fight. And this is going to be a very, very difficult strategy to take down. We're probably going to see multiple Soul Rings. By Soul Ring, I mean Ring of Sorcery. And it's going to likely be one on Tempest, and wouldn't be surprised if Keeper or Soul Reaper gets one. I doubt it's going to be both, and I would imagine somebody's also going to go for an Astrolabe. So it's going to be really difficult for Solaire Club to deal with this push, too, because they don't exactly have the best anti-push team. They've got a Bubbles, who has some Shell Surf, but that's going to limit his mobility if he wants to use that as an anti-push ability. And the rest of their team isn't great. Empath Wall can do some stuff. If you place it very well, it'll force creeps to run around, and that's extremely annoying. It'll also do a fair bit of damage, but it's not really a strictly strong anti-push spell. So at this point, I actually do strongly favor PI's draft. They have a ridiculous amount of team fight. They're not particularly strong in the gank area, and if Legion side can stop the push a little bit, then they will have very, very superior gank presence, and that can allow them to start picking people off. It's going to be difficult in general because Magnus has a lot of getaways. Keeper and Soul Reaper are generally very tanky. Tempest has some tankiness, especially with Astrolabe, and he's got a stun, so they have a Rhapsody to back them up as well. So it's not the easiest lineup to gank, even with proper vision, of course. Even if they do get off to a good start, and if they fall behind, Solaire Club are going to go down real hard, real fast. And I'm honestly a little bit worried for them. So we'll see how they do, but I think they basically have to win the laning phase, which is not something that's guaranteed even against a lineup like this, because hey, Magnus does very, very well in lane, and Keeper of the Forest, a strong Suicide. Soul Reaper very difficult to box out because of all the heals he can drop. Now, as far as heroes going against him, Bubbles is probably just about the best, because Soul Reaper has no particularly great CC mechanisms. He's got his ultimate, but that's not a reliable one. It's obviously not nearly often enough to use it just as a harassment stun. And Bubbles can take cover the Judgment. He can Shell Surf away and therefore not get killed, because Soul Reaper really can't chase him down. And he can also silence and do some counter harass. I don't imagine Bubbles is going to be in any specific likelihood of getting a kill onto the Soul Reaper, just because Soul Reaper is that tanky, and he's that difficult to kill with his constant Judgment and Inhuman Nature giving him back some mana. But I would be really shocked if Soul Reaper got a counter kill as well. So probably not going to be too much action in this top lane, and therefore we won't focus on it. We'll look at mid instead, where Empath can take a lot of damage right off the bat, forced to pop Health Pot. She won't die, but gets very, very close. And it's going to be Magnus and Rhapsody versus Puppet Master and Empath. So not the typical short lane Puppet, and instead it will be a mid Puppet Master who's actually taking a fair bit of harass himself, but also dealing out a lot of damage. Magnus has to be a little bit careful as Empath continually auto-attacking him down. Another health pot this time being used by the Hellborn team. Gaia Empath ult avatar, very well done. I approve Stand March. And Essence Link actually going to go on to Rhapsody. Will do a lot of damage, but Puppet Master not interested in following up. And perhaps, no, didn't lose vision, they have Ward Sight, so. Thought he might have lost an Eye-Pill, but obviously not. Bottom line going to be Gauntlet versus Keeper of the Forest. And another situation where I doubt either side really has too much potential to kill the other one. Gauntlet definitely has better burst, but going up against a very tanky hero like Keeper of the Forest, who's going to have Invis, is basically going to make it impossible for Gauntlet getting kills. Anyway, middle lane, Rhapsody going to be in a lot of trouble as Gauntlet, or Cthulhu coming into the gang, and they might look to turn this around onto the Magnus as well. Yeah, that's going to be a double tap for Canador. So the type of start that Solaire Club needed to get it off to, this is exactly it. And Canador specifically getting an early Assassin Shroud. I don't know if he wants to go for a Helm in this sort of game, because I don't think that they want to really spend too much time farming. Even if Solaire Club got off to a strong start, I don't think that they want to let up on the pedal. They want to apply a lot of pressure as this game continues. So I would expect an early Shroud is probably going to be the item of choice for Candorf here, and he's now going to be well on his way towards it. He picks up Boots and a Ring of the Teacher. Perhaps looking for a Grave Block as well, as he has the Mark of the Novice also, but that's more or less exactly what they wanted to have happen. They're going to have a bit of a counter initiation with Staccatos and Lava Surge and onto the Puppet Master, who is taking a fair bit of damage, but not going to be any real danger of dying. 2-minute rune will spawn top. Empath going to go pick it up. Now, notable, they have not gone for the bottle. So, going to be no bottle so far on this Legion side. I would assume we'll see at least one, probably on the bubbles. And middle lane, going to have the Puppet Show as well as the Essence Link onto Magnus. Is going to stun out on the Empath. They're going to go for a counter kill here, but I'm not really sure if that was the greatest idea. Magnus is going to die, and now Empath is going to get away. I don't think now he has the range to kill him, no. So, I don't know why that happened. Now, Cthulhu coming in with the trample. There's not enough mana on Puppet, but for some reason he actually backed off of that kill. Staccatos will go through. Empath looking for something. Uphill auto, yes! Well done, and Canadorf gets another double tap. This Word of Sight is actually doing a lot of work. And Prime Icarus looking really, really iffy in this middle lane to start. Canadorf currently at 515 gold per minute. He has 4 hero kills. And this is not what they wanted to have happen with their push strat. They needed to get off to at least a reasonably strong start. And they're kind of getting decimated in this middle lane, because the other thing that we have to look at is, as far as teamfight initiation goes, they have a lot of counter jump. But when it comes to initiating themselves, Magnus is going to be the main focus for this team. He wants to be the first one in that fight with a follow-up Keeper Root and a follow-up Tempest Hole. You can start out with the Keeper Root if you want, but it's a little bit less effective, I think, because it's going to waste some time. Magnus, in the meantime, can get a much more effective early stun out. He can draw people in, try to focus people on him, and then they can counter that up with the Keeper of the Forest Root that will lock down all sorts of heroes. And perhaps even the ideal situation may be to have them jump at more or less the same time. Either way, Magnus needs a portal key. It's just, that's a given that he does need a portal key, and he's going to need it relatively quickly in this lineup, because they also want to start pushing fast. This is not necessarily a lineup that's going to be super great at taking this late. They don't have the worst late game team in the world by any means, but they're not going to win in the late game, I don't think, against the Puppet Master and his friends, especially with an Empath behind him. So, Solaire Club doing what they need to do right off the bat. And top lane, actually, Soul Reaper is pretty damn low. Let's spam a Judgment right there, not bad. Gonna get a couple of CS back, which will help his inhuman nature. Tempest on, or Short Cannon Tempest rotating over will go some mana to the Soul Reaper, but Word of Sight spots him out, so Bubble's not going to be in any real danger of dying. Soul Reaper also hitting level 6, takes some health pot as well, so he gets all his health back. It's very, very helpful, of course. And so, speaking of him, I probably shouldn't go off that so quickly. Ceratoss at 260 GPM, Army of Mums at 222 GPM. Bottom lane, actually, Keeper of the Forest can be in some trouble. Will invis himself. Hook not going to connect. And Dust Connection go off. It will connect on the back end, but they don't really have enough distance to get him. He's going to TP on out, and he should be able to get it. So, nice play there from File. That was an interesting trample. He was already gone. Maybe they thought the dust wore off and he was just moving, but they saw him TP, so yeah, I don't really know what that was about. Cthulhu just sort of wasting some mana. Either way, nice play from Keeper, and he manages to survive in that Suicide lane going 230 GPM, so staying more or less on par with the opposing team's Suicide. And Gauntlet, currently 256 GPM, Certus actually out GPMing him in that short lane, but it's interesting to me because Army of Mums plays Kraken so often, and as I said before, not the greatest Kraken player in the world. He's not a terrible Kraken player, but we've definitely seen him have some issues. I've seen him play Bubbles a couple of times now, and he's actually pretty damn good at it, I would say. Especially as a Suicide player. Like, he's not averaging bad GPM at all. He's doing just fine in this lane, and it's kind of confusing to me as to why they keep putting him on this hero that he doesn't play all that well, I don't think, when he has now proven in a couple of games that he can play Bubbles. So, a bit odd. Oh, missed that completely, but Stan March going to fall in the bottom river. Can go back, of course, because this is a solo cast, so it doesn't really matter. I don't have to resync. Nice Lava Surge from Magnus, actually very excellently timed. Manages to hit the Empath and avoid the trample, but he's going to eat a Puppet Show, and I wouldn't be surprised if he dies here. Puppeteer's hold to follow up. Actually, no mana on Puppet Master, so nice. Last Kid Ret taking the mana battery, jumps right over the ledge, and he's fine. And the push has started from the Hellborn team, so not really the position they wanted to begin with, but this is going to help a lot in terms of taking a whole lot of early towers, getting some map advantage. Looks like it'll be 1 and 2 tier 1 or 2 tier towers in the top lane. As Empath rotating over, looking to try to stop this push. They're also bringing in a port. It's going to be a 4-man kelp field. We have multiple ultimates. Tempest going to go off onto this Gauntlet. They're looking for a cancel. Keeper Root also going to hit on there. Gauntlet going to die, but they're going to trade him for Shortcan. He's already used his ultimate, so not doing all that much. And Certus actually used his ultimate on Chisman, who that's how they got the kill. So they did use a lot of ultis there, actually. Both the Keeper of the Forest and the Tempest ultimate, and they're also going to manage to pick off Rhapsody. So this is not the greatest fight for PI, actually, in the end, as they do not kill the tier 1 tower. They use 3 relatively long cooldown ultimates, and they lose 2 heroes, and they only kill 1. So they will continue this top tower push, and there's nothing Legion side can do about this, I don't think, at this point. This tower is going to die. The question is deny or no. No? Maybe, maybe not. Okay, it looks like Army of Mums trying to deny this, but it's from a pretty high health, and it's going to take a while. He does not hit real hard, and he does get the deny. Alright, well played. So we baited out that last auto attack from Certus, and ended up getting the tier 2 tower deny in the top lane. So no more towers up there, and wouldn't be surprised as we see the Hellborn heroes rotating over. Looks like they will start to group up middle and continue to take towers down. So Keeper of the Forest going for 1 Ring of Sorcery. Second Ring of Sorcery picked up on Tempest, and I would imagine that will be it. That will be it for the Hellborn team in terms of mana rings, and I'm expecting an Astrolabe from somebody, very possibly Soul Reaper. And so he's got 760 gold saved up. He does not have too much build up for an Astro, but you would imagine that is on the way. Middle lane, Magma's kind of hanging out here, looking for something, reveals himself though, and actually going to jump onto the Cthulhu, who's going to be pretty damn low, and he's just absolutely getting destroyed. Wow, Noob McNoom with 1,000 health and went down so fast. He's building an Astrolabe of his own, and that just did not matter. The double damage rune on Magma's no doubt helping, but that was a very large amount of damage very, very quickly. And here it comes, middle lane. Push, push, push. Tier 2 tower, push, push, push. And Legion side gonna look for some counter, but I don't know if they're gonna have any, or at least enough. Yeah, this is definitely a minor tower kill. Jisman's looking for initiation, but he's actually going to get jumped on himself. Kelp in the background, going on to 3. And again, they don't have the Tempest ultimate. Keeper Root is back. They're looking for something. Meanwhile, in the background, Jisman's going to put the ultimate on the Keeper, but he's already put the ultimate down. He's going to be the first one to fall. Short Cannon, the Tempest also dies in the background. Looks like they're looking for a kill on Cannon from the Puppet Master. Steam Bath goes through from Magnus as he's trying to get away from this all of a sudden, but he still has mana and has enough for a Lava Surge. Fair bit of health. Actually will pick off Cannon, or Snoopy Noob on the Cthulhu thing. Gonna eat the Puppeteer's hold for his trouble, but now Bubbles might be in some trouble as well. Takes cover, and he will be alright in the end. Still ends up being a tier 2 tower kill for PI. This time they get a couple of kills out of it. They lose just the one. It did cost them their Keeper Root. But the loss on Tempest, Shortcan's Tempest, not that big a deal. He's still farming quite well, especially thanks to those tower kills. And he's also, yeah, he had no ultimate, and he will have one for the next push. So as far as heroes to lose, that was about as good as it gets, I think. Maybe Rhapsody would have been the only one that was better. And it's actually going to be Shortcan getting the Astrolabe, which is alright. Like, it's not the greatest thing, I don't think, but kind of would have preferred to see Soul Reaper, because that would allow Tempest to get something else like upgraded boots. And we don't have a plated Greaves yet on the Hellborn side. That would have been good on either him or Keep the Forest, having some armor to this team. And the push will continue, as they will take a tier 1 bottom, and you can be surprised if that keeps going into a tier 2 bot.
The Hellborn
We could very well have all outer towers cleared in favor of the Hellborn team sub 12 minutes at this rate. As PI shows absolutely no inclination to stop pushing. So the one thing I really do like about PI and the push strats that they've started to run a lot in the last couple of games, they actually push. And that sounds like a really, really obvious and stupid thing, but you would not believe. Oh, middle lane, they're going to jump on this Magnus. He's going to pop his mana battery, which is actually now a power supply, and try to run away. Now he's Rhapsody doing some zoning. He will be okay. Background Bubble's going to jump in. We'll get the Kelp Field onto 2. We're going to stop the regen rune from Magnus as well. He's going to have to stun out onto the Bubbles, but they're going to be 1. And let's see if Rhapsody actually dies here. Yeah, Infernal's really going to finish him off. Silence out. We'll stop the Magnus Steam Bath, and Solaire definitely die here. So that's going to be 2 kills. But the distraction train was successful as the Legion side lost their tier 2 bot, and they are now starting to lose their base towers. So it cost them a Kelp Field. They also don't have as one from Empath or the Gauntlet Blast. It's going to be the cue for the Hellborn side to back off, as the Legion look like they're defending this, but they get this tier 3 in the bottom lane more than half dead. And that's not a great trade, especially because Solaire not particularly close to his portal key and he wants one soon. But he's still at 350 gold per minute, and he's actually going to get it relatively quickly no matter what happens. Even feeding a death like that, not that big a deal because of all the towers they've killed. And Bubble's going to be just fine as he shell surfs away. So Kongor is the next queue. They take all outer towers, they get massive amounts of map control, and their next objective is to kill a Kongor, get a token up on Certus, and start to break the high ground, which is, again, going to be very difficult for this Legion side to stop, because they can slow push very, very effectively, especially with a token. All this minion damage, having the dance floor, having the Judgment heal from Soul Reaper, these minions are going to take a very, very long time to die. They're going to do a fair bit of damage, and it's just going to be a situation where Legion's like, I don't know. I mean, they're sitting too far back for us to kill them, because we don't want to jump well past our tier 3 tower, but we have to do something. We can't kill these minions. They're killing our tower. Like, what do you do? I don't know what you do. I don't know what you do. Bubbles will spot out the Kongor attempt, but it's far too late. And Certus going to pick up a token. I mean, notable, Solaire Club still does have a 9-5 hero kill advantage, but that's 5.5k gold as a result of losing 6 towers in 12 minutes. And Legion side have taken 1 tower of their own. And the amount of vision that's up for the Hellborn team, the amount of map control they have, in addition, of course, to that gold, is enormous. The Legion side cannot safely farm their woods. As you can see, it's just constantly being pressured. And Cannondorf had 500 plus GPM after going 4-0-0 in the first couple of minutes of this game, and he has since fallen all the way down to 384 because of the constant, unyielding pressure that the Hellborn side have put on this Legion team. And here it goes again. Here it goes again. Here it goes again. I mean, Keeper Dogs, like, they go down and they get killed, but they don't care. They're just chip damage. That's all they need to do. Just continuously do chip damage. To a point will constantly charge them away, try to run them. They will get killed. Infernal Instability, not a bad counter. But, and Certus pounding in the autos, the Hell Cannon's there, that's firing into this thing. As you can see, no real engagement opportunities for the Legion team, and yet this tower is falling over and over and over again. As it's well below the threshold. Wall keeps coming out, minions keep coming in. They'll put the Glacial Blast on the Cthulhu, but he'll have to actually charge away. So that's going to be a tier 3 tower kill, as Magnus is absolutely in. Background, Kelpto going to run a couple. Tempest Ultimate to lock down both Army of Mums and Noob on that Cthulhu and Bubbles. Keeping the forestry going off the background, going to stop some stuff. Gauntlet trying to put some initiation on here, but he really can't find any opportunities. Magnus will stun in onto him. One more auto attack going to finish him off. as Empath is going to jump. Actually, I thought he was inside Gauntlet, but apparently he was inside Gando. That makes a lot more sense. And it is just going to be the two of them trying to defend against this Rax push. Obviously, that's not going to be successful.
Has been destroyed.
So nobody has buyback except for the Puppet Master, so this is going to be a bot Rax. And I wouldn't be surprised if they continue to transition into the middle Rax, because the other thing about this strategy is, okay, so they used a fair bit of cooldowns there, and this might not be their cue to take mid. They might want to wait for their CDs to be back. We'll see how much token. Solar Price 2.5 minutes of the token left. So they can back off and wait for Tempest Ultimate and Keeper the Forest Ultimate, or both, or either one, and then turn that into another push, or they could just do this. Because the other thing that, you know, even without the ultimates, they now have a lane of super creeps pushing in at 16 minutes, and it's going to be really difficult for the Legion side to continuously deal with that, and they also have to deal with the mid push. Gauntlet going to miss the hook, and Cthulhu in the front lines trying to do something, but not really doing all that much. Magma's going to stun in on top of him, Glacial Blaster down as well. Staccato's going to help finish off Nude as they get that for nothing really. Rhapsody Ultimate in the background actually will be silenced out as the Puppeteer will go. Voodoo Puppet not going to be enough to finish off Magmas. They finally take the token as Ceratops drops, but that's exactly the wrong target, the one with the token. It's the last one you want to kill. And it looks like another Tier 3 tower is going to be falling here in the meantime. Ceratops going to get hooked back in, but Magma's going to jump on top of Empath in the background. He will be able to finish off SolC on that Magnus, but they still do lose a Tier 3 tower. And Puppet Master obviously had that early Assassin Shroud, just like I figured he would. But not really being able to make too much use of it, as there's no gank opportunity when the entire team is just 5-manning down the middle of lanes. And we're going to see dual racks at 17 minutes, it looks like. Just hit the racks, finish them off. You got a Kelpie in the background going on some stuff. Noob coming back into the fight. Eruption, though, from Slaskin' as he buys back and takes out both Gauntlet and Cthulhu. So, yeah, this is going to be mid-racks, and they're calling GG's, and that's going to be game one, which is... I mean, it's a little bit surprising in that Solaire Club have been playing much, much better lately, and I don't think they're quite on the level of PI yet, but they're closer than they have been in a very long time. And I kind of hoped that they would put up a little bit more fight than that. Now, again, PI with these sneak push strats, they've been working very, very well, and I mean, it's like, what do you do against that? Like, the Legion team did not have the appropriate heroes to deal with it, and this is the genius of the strat. They picked heroes in the beginning that allowed them to transition out of it if they didn't want to do it. So if Solaire Club had a lot of anti-push, or if the bans were not favorable to them, they could avoid running this strategy. Anything I've noticed is they pretty much only run it when they're on Hellborn, as that obviously gives you the second to last, or the third to last and last picks, which means you can really make sure that you want to double down on the push strat, because you can get a look at their lineup and what they can do against it before you fully commit. So the sneak push strat working very, very well, and Solaire Club just no answer to it. So I would not be surprised to see some of these heroes banned out, at least in the second banning stage of the second game, if not earlier on. But PI taking a pretty fantastic Game 1 victory in Solaire Club now. One loss away from getting knocked out. This is, I believe, higher than they've ever finished before in Gold Division, so they still have to be pretty happy about how they would do if they lost the second game. But at the same time, how do you know that you're going to get this far again? Got to get take your opportunity when it comes to you. But PI on the verge of going to Diamond Division with one more victory. That will advance them to the Winners Bracket Finals and a spot in Diamond for Cycle 6, and we'll see if they can pull that off. We'll be right back, guys.